Hi, this is something I thought would be cool to CSS because when I saw it, my first idea was to use an alternating animation, and that's not really the case. There's a bit of a trick to it, and I'll be showing you that today. So we're going to start with a number of bars, let's say 24. I believe there are actually 16 there, but it doesn't really matter. Then we're going to have a loop, so for I going from 0 all the way up to n, incremented at every step, have a bar element, and for it we're going to have in a style attribute a sort of a progress custom property k, and this is going to be I over n, and this is going to produce a lot of decimals in some cases. So let's take care of that, limit their number to 3, so that should take care of the issue. Okay, that's good. Okay, so having done this, let's start putting stuff on the screen. So the bars are going to have a width of 3 we're also going to give them a height, and then on the bar elements we're going to set that width and that height, and we're going to give them a background so that we can see them. And to make things a bit more clear, we're going to set a border radius. This is actually half the height, but it doesn't matter if it's bigger than that, it's just going to get rounded down. And now you can see them a bit better. Now for the layout, on the body, let's set display grid, and for the bars we want them all to overlap, so we want them all to be on the same row, first row, and same column, first column. Let's also set place self center so that they're in the middle, but this only solves the problem horizontally because the body takes the height of its content. So yeah, let's force its height to be the full viewport height. And now we get the scroll bar, so let's get rid of it with margin 0. Okay, so having done this, we want to position those bars on a circle. So we do that with a transform. So we have rotate, and here we're going to compute the value as being that progress custom property times 1 full turn. And you can already see something now. We also want to translate them by some value. So this 5m is not really a good value because we want them to be at about the same distance there, regardless of the number n. But let's okay, if we turn that into 124, now you can see that they overlap, and that's not what we want. So the way we do this, we want to compute that translation distance. And that translation distance is actually this OM. So as you can see here, we have a right triangle, and this angle is half the central angle corresponding to an edge. And the central angle corresponding to an edge is 360 degrees over n, and half of it is going to be 180 over n, or pi over n. So to get this, this is actually this Vm over the tangent of pi over n, because this half is pi over n, as I've said before. So it depends on how much we want the height of the bar to take of this edge, but if we wanted to occupy the full edge, then we're going to have half the height over the tangent. So the distance we want to translate by is going to be half the height over the tangent, but we want a bit of space between them, so let's say we're going to have a bigger value. It's not going to be just half the height, it's going to be, for example, 3 times the height. And this is going to be over the tangent, and this is going to be set as a custom property, and we'll be setting it here, but first we need to compute it. So as I said, this is going to be the tangent of pi over n, and just like before, we're going to want to reduce the number of decimals, so we're going to have something like this. Okay, so on the body, in a style attribute, we'll be having the tangent. Let's format this properly. Okay, so now it looks great. So even if we have I don't know, something like 36. As you can see, there's pretty much the same distance between them. So yeah, let's revert to what we had before. And let's move on to making a few tweaks here. So for example, this is going to be a translation along the x-axis, sorry. So we're going to set it there, like that. And this rotation right here, right? We're going to set it. So now this transform chain looks a lot more compact and a lot easier to work with. So let's do something like this. So in a set of keyframes, we're going to have pretty much the same, except this is going to go the other way, in the other direction. So we're going to multiply it by -1. Let's set an animation duration, 1 second, for example. And now going to have animation duration infinite, okay. And for the easing, we're going to go with a custom one. So let's say something like this. Oh, I can't type. Okay, so having done this, we're also going to set an animation delay, and this is basically the trick, because we're going to use that progress k times minus twice the animation duration. So this is basically the trick. So this is moving pretty fast right now. Let's make this a bit more interesting. So, and this is also going to help me show you what's going on here. So let's say we're going to have the exact same progress times 360 degrees. Let's say we're going to have 85 for saturation and 65 for lightness. Let's also set a background here. This is going to be too dark. Let's make it like this. This is moving too fast. So let's slow it down so you can see what's going on. Now, if you look at those bars that oppose each other, you can see that they're abruptly changing color. But they're not abruptly changing color. They're basically just switching places with one another, because that's what's happening at the end of the animation. They're switching places. But if you multiply by 2, like we've multiplied there, if you multiply here by 2, then you're not going to notice that anymore, because opposing bars have the exact same color. So you're not noticing it anymore. And this is where we can basically introduce a multiplier. So let's say it's going to be 2, and let's interpolate it right here. So that multiplier also interpolated here as well, right? And we can change this to something like 4. Now, of course, if we change the number to something like 48, it's going to look a lot more interesting. And of course, we can change it to 6. And it's going to look weird for odd numbers, but that's also a possibility. As you can see, it looks weird like that. So yeah, this is what it looks like for 6 once more. I guess for 8, it's also a possibility, right? But you can't quite tell what's happening. So we're going to leave it at 2 and get back there to 24. Okay, something else we can do is ensure that at any moment there are some bars that aren't moving. So to do that, we're going to set a percentage here, let's say 9%. And here we're going to go and use 0 and 9%. And then we're going to take this transform from here. and here we'll be having 100% minus that percentage. Okay, and like this. So yeah, let's change the duration to something more normal. Okay, so basically like this. So yeah, this is what I wanted to show you for today. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and if you like the work that I've been putting out for more than 8 years now, please consider supporting it. You can do so by being a cool cat and becoming a patron on Patreon, or you can get me something off my Amazon wishlist, or you can at least share this to show the world what can be done with CSS these days, because honestly I think it's pretty damn cool. In any event, thanks for watching. The links for everything, this demo, the original inspiration, the helper demo, my Patreon, my Amazon wish lists, everything is going to be in the description below. And I'll see you next time. Bye.